Welcome back to the Last Week This Week podcast, episode 73. I'm Ian Scott.
And I'm Zach Huber.
And this is the podcast where we talk about film and TV topics from the last week and give them to you all this week. And this week, as always, we have a few exciting topics and a few exciting trailers to go over with you.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the Ballerina trailer that came out, which is the John Wick spinoff of kind of the ballerina, Russian ballerina.
The first movie spinoff.
First movie spinoff. Because we did have the Continental TV show, which I have yet to see. I don't know
hear good things.
Why I'm putting it off. Maybe it's because it's on Peacock. I don't know.
Probably.
We are also very surprising news. Deathstroke and Bane team up movie apparently in the works over at DC. Did not expect that one. That was not on the 2024 bingo card.
I don't think it was on anyone's.
Yeah, honestly. And also speaking of DC, Kyle Chandler is going to play Hal Jordan in Lantern. So no more Josh Brolin. We also have a lead of who might be playing John Stewart in the Lantern series. We're also going to be talking about Agatha All Along, specifically episode 3, but I think we'll probably cover the stuff that we didn't cover previously in the same review. But we are starting off with, so The Last of Us had The Last of Us Day, which maybe somebody can clarify to me if that's like the other day was a very special day in the game, or we're pronouncing it The Last of Us Day. I don't know.
I don't know the significance behind there being a day for The Last of Us.
I just saw it say it's Last of Us Day, and I'm like, okay, cool.
I guess awesome. It gets a day.
Sure. But we got Last of Us Season 2 trailer, and spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen Last of Us. The first season at least. I'm not gonna hold back. But I feel like this looks amazing. This looks great. Yeah. I don't know anything from the second game.
That's amazing.
But I do see. I saw shots that I was like, that is a pretty great recreation of,
for sure,
of certain scenes that I have seen, like stills I have seen from the game. And I was like, that looks great. And
I'm excited for all the new actors and characters that are coming. Like Jeffrey Wright looks great, and I'm excited to see his
Jeffrey
character.
Wright, I guess, is playing Isaac Dixon,
which I think he played in the game. Right. He's one of the people reprising his role.
Guess who's gonna be in it too? Also, so Joel's in the trailer, like speaking to a therapist. Is that part of the video game?
So to clarify, I haven't played the second game, but I know like a lot about it. I don't know if there is a therapist character, but I'm very excited to see Catherine O'Hara.
I know that's what I was gonna say. Like, I'm looking at the list. I'm like, Catherine O'Hara.
That was a surprise.
That was a very big surprise. So I'm guessing it says an undisclosed guest role. So I'm guessing that maybe it's not somebody from the video game. Probably
not. Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to say too much about what goes on in the second game, but I think even without knowing, I think if you like put your mind to it, I think there's like some really major hints that they drop in this trailer about like the season, and
specifically not sharing things.
What do you mean?
Sharing information. What do you like?
Like what did you do? Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, obviously Joel is still struggling with maybe what he did doomed the world. Maybe he's struggling with the fact that he killed all those people, and I think that's what he's struggling to talk to the therapist about. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think I'm excited to like go back to the town that we left them off in, and like see his brother Tommy, and I don't know. I think like besides like the very grim feeling of this trailer, it's exciting to go back to that world and see Joel and Ellie again.
And to see them take up guitar. I think we're gonna
Yep.
We're gonna get some
it's a big thing that Ellie's about in the
campfire
second
songs. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She gonna play like a lot of Elliott Smith, or is she gonna
I don't know. It's a good question.
get into like Bob Dylan and
but
she's
yeah,
gonna
I
ward
think
the zombies off with her finger playing.
for sure. Yeah.
She's gonna
like the sound waves are just
the
gonna
sound waves are gonna
push them back.
Is that like something you can do in the game? You just like hit the guitar and you do
it's
a
like
guitar strum and they're like whoa.
Yeah. It's exactly like a Quiet Place where you just like sound waves like boom.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, I think the only like real complaint I've seen, which I hold the same complaint, is that, and I know this would have been very hard.
The only real complaint, as like there's complaints that are like, nah, that's not a real. That's not real.
It's not a real complaint.
You can't actually say that. It's a fake complaint. I would know because I have the real complaint.
But I think it's the fact that like, and I think it would have been tough to handle it. But I wish that they had waited longer between filming the first and second season, and they
everybody who's listening is like, I hate Ian.
Wow, sorry I can't voice a complaint, viewers.
Somebody goes like, that's a fake complaint.
I don't know.
That.
I think it's hard to tell that this takes place 5 years after the first game. I don't think that's obvious when you look at the trailer.
Well, maybe it doesn't. You know, maybe they've changed that.
That would be. Here's the thing. I think that's rough because I think her being an adult now is like a big theme and a big part of the game. So I think she needs to at least be 18 for this game to happen. And I think she was 14 in the last game, or the first game.
Which here's the thing. Bella Ramsey is...
Yeah, she was like 19 when she filmed the first season, I think.
She's 21. So
right.
As much as like, yeah. So here's how I would figure things. She is, you know, technically what she's supposed to look like as an adult, you know?
Yes. And but it's just that we saw her.
But maybe she starts to dress differently or do things differently.
No, they styled her hair differently, for sure.
You know?
It's just, I don't know. I don't know if it's enough. I think they're going to do that with dress and hairstyle, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like enough to me, but we'll see.
That's not a real complaint.
I think it is because I think you need like this passage of time, and it does. And I don't know if it's like obvious enough.
All right, I'm gonna hold judgment until I see it because as of right now, like I don't know. I mean, okay, granted, first impression didn't really feel like that much time had gone by.
Right, exactly.
I'll
but I
give
do
you
think
that.
Joel does look older. I'll give it that. Even though he already looked like kind of old in the first season, I think they've aged him just like a tad more. It feels like.
That's crazy.
But yeah, I mean,
like Pedro Pascal would just subject himself and be like, "Yeah, age me up." They physically aged him up. Like, I just want you to know that's what they did.
You got all the jokes today, huh?
They increased his cellular turnover, and they've gotten him to be 5 years older.
Yeah, he volunteered for this scientific experiment, and you know he's really dedicated to his craft.
He's more of a method actor than Christian Bale. I'll tell you that.
He's clearly the most dedicated method actor of our time now. So
he's literally killing himself. He's killing himself.
Yeah, I mean he's now gonna like die faster. So like props to him.
It's amazing. If he doesn't get an Emmy, I mean, shameful.
Yeah, for sure.
But no, I don't know anything about Jeffrey Wright's character, but something about him with this tied up, tortured person. I'm like,
he's scary looking there? For sure.
There's this one scene where one of the characters, maybe it's Abby or whoever Ellie's like love interest, is literally crawling under, like on the snow underneath barbed wire that is being overrun with infected clickers. And I was like, that's fucking insane.
That's a dope scene. Yeah.
There's
but then you get the contrast with maybe like a hint at like a possible love interest for Ellie. And like when she's playing guitar and like this girl's like looking up at her with like hard eyes, you know?
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot to look forward to. They really gave you like snippets of like a lot of different feels. We get some beautiful scenery of the mountain area and like what they're gonna go through in that. And I think this gives you as if you're not a fan of the games, this gives you like very small hints of what's to come. If you are a fan of the games and you know that they're like, I think the story to come is what we've already seen, and they're being faithful. It seems like, which I don't know if is what everyone wants. I don't think I'm in love with the story as much as I am with the first one, but we'll see how it goes. I'm excited.
Like, to be honest, like I don't know how some of the game gamers would think, but I feel like from what I know of the first game story, the additions that they made for the first season enhanced it and made it the show almost made it its own, but it was a more fleshed out and interesting story. Like the whole Bill and Fred, was it Bill and Fred?
I don't know. Because I almost wanted to say Bill and Ted, but I was like, that's not right.
It's not Bill and Ted, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
But
Bill and Frank?
Bill and Frank.
There it is. Yeah.
Like that did so much. Just like the small preludes, if you want to call that, to like episode 2 and episode 1, where you have like the woman in Jakarta who's a scientist and the talk show kind of going over. I mean, the small things, admittedly, but even going into like having the DLC where you had Ellie, and so I just And we even had that in the last episode where, you see Ellie's mom and how she gets bit and all that stuff. And
so that's what I'm really excited about. Is like all the additions they'll bring.
Yeah,
and I think
they did such a great job at adapting it and making it, like I would maybe say like a better story. Like when I watched season 1, I'm like I just. Not that, and I don't know, like with the season,
that's tough.
But it's difficult because like it's a video game versus a show, and then
the video game really does make you feel. I think it really helps you feel like you're in Joel's shoes. Like I think you go through the roller coaster he goes on in that game, whereas I don't know if you're like as attached like per se. I mean, like yes, Joel's the central figure, but like. The games really make you feel like you're in his experience, and I love that about the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do agree.
The kid who couldn't talk, and his brother.
Yeah, I mean they were in the game too.
I know, but we got like a whole, a whole build up before we even like get to them meeting Joel and Ellie about like their relationship, and that wasn't in the game, and that was amazing.
Yeah. No, I think that's what they really were able to do with the show is like build the world around Joel and Ellie, and I think that's how they're going to be able to like make a season 2, a 3, and a 4. That's what I've heard, that they want to do like a 4-season thing. I don't know if like I know that there's a possibility of a third game, so maybe they make more seasons after the third game comes out.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited. I hope season 2 looks as beautiful as the trailer does, and it comes out sometime in 2025. That's all I really know.
Yeah, it said 2025. That's all we know.
That's it. Yeah. Well, I think that's our thoughts on that trailer. The other trailer we wanted to talk about that's really exciting is the Ballerina trailer, the spinoff of the John Wick franchise. This one's set in between the third and fourth movie, and it follows this, this woman who was taken in, it seems like, by Winston in the trailer, and was then kind of handed off to the Ballerina school. It's what's it called? It's called the Ruska Roma, which we also met in. We
John
met
Wick
that
3.
Those people in John Wick 3. The director of that organization helped John out and said was like, hey, I'm gonna help you because like you were raised here, but you're done after this. So I thought they were really cool. They were like a really odd addition, I would say. Like I didn't expect like to learn about, like John's like childhood kind of backstory. But I enjoyed the addition of them in John Wick 3. I wanted to learn more, and this is our opportunity to learn more about it, where we're gonna see this character actually grow up in the Roscaroma. So I think the trailer looks really good. I'm excited about that whole backstory. There's some really exciting action in this trailer that feels very John Wick. So yeah, I don't know. I love this trailer. I don't know about you.
I was just really surprised that we didn't get more dance sequences because I mean it's called the Ballerina.
Sure.
And I don't see any.
But I think it feels like more of a front in a sense.
I don't see any, Swan Lake.
It's not like John Wick was ever a performer.
I know. I'm being so facetious right now. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, no. So Anna de Armas, she great in Knives Out. She killed it as the kind of Bond girl, but not exactly in No Time to Die.
We were all expecting her to get a spinoff for that.
Which we will never see, unfortunately, but this is like the closest thing that
it really is.
And I think somebody probably saw her.
Yeah,
in
had
that
some
movie
great action, and we're like,
bring it on. Right. And we're gonna get Winston, which I was really surprised about. We're gonna get Charon.
Dude, I was like, how do I pronounce that name?
I forget how to say Lance Reddick's name, but character's name. But
this is possibly his last role, though. Since he passed away a year or so ago.
Norman Reedus is in it. Was very surprised about that.
Looks exactly the same as he always does. So.
Yeah, that's got to be like baked into his contract. Like, I'm not changing how I look.
Or maybe everyone's such a fan of Norman Reedus, they're like, no, don't change anything about your look. Like, we want that look in our movie.
It's probably that.
I think it might be.
Yeah. And so at first, I'll be honest, I was like, this is looking fine. But something clicked. And I think it was after like they started showing her use her abilities, and after they introduced they showed John Wick, like the action like started to intensify, and it got to the point where she was doing moves and killing people, and I was like, ooh.
There was 3 big ones that I was like really into. Like one was the using the ice skate as like a weapon. That was great. I loved her using like this blast door, like throwing a grenade on that guy and then using the blast door as like a shield. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
And then that scene at the end where she's fighting a flamethrower with a water hose, like a firefighter hose. I was like, okay, this is some like over the top ridiculous shit, which I come to John Wick for, and I'm glad they're carrying the vibe over.
Yeah. Because at first I was like, it seems a little tame.
Right.
But I mean, I'm interested. I guess Anna de Armas's character's name is Eve. I'm very interested to see what somebody who grows up in this organization is like. A little predictable, but I love it still where she's like, how do I learn how to do what you do? And I just knew he was going to say, well, looks like you already have.
Well, I think it's because like, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like that's what I would have said. I would have been like, well, you're already doing all this shit. Like you are a John Wick type character already, like from the trailer,
Yeah.
So I don't think she's going to need much help from him. I'm glad to see him in the movie. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It seems like he's going to have more of a role than I thought he was going to have.
He's in it a good amount. I heard.
That's cool. I mean, I would love to see like a finale of both of them just like tearing up shit. Like that'd be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems like her story is like maybe getting revenge for the death of her father, because I think at one point in the trailer she mentions that I know they killed my father, and and so I'm like, okay, like maybe it's revenge on the Roscaroma. I don't know who they is. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some like rough shit going on there where like they are, I don't know, like manipulating it so where they get like these young malleable kids for them to like raise into assassins, you know?
This is actually an MCU project, and they're gonna be introduced to the Red Room. And,
okay.
And then she'll see Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow and like,
so at the end,
can relate.
the Keanu Reeves isn't John Wick, he's Ghost Rider. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Nice. I like that.
Do people think that he's going to be Ghost Rider?
They've fan cast him as Ghost Rider for a while. I wouldn't mind it. I think he'd be cool.
I'd like to see Nicolas Cage back as a Ghost Rider, honestly.
But like a new MCU Ghost Rider, I think some Keanu Reeves would be cool.
I don't know who I would want Keanu Reeves to be, but I don't know if Ghost Rider is the one.
It's either him or you pick like Norman Reedus because he like rides a bike and everything he does, you know? So yeah.
Fair.
Right. But yeah, this one comes out, I think June 6th of next year. It was written by who was this written by?
Well, remember
Shay Hayton, who
it went through like all these different like rewrites and it got delayed, and so I'm hoping this all works out.
Yeah,
in the
but
end.
they're saying it's now written by Shay Hayton or Hatton, who is a screenwriter and producer known for John Wick 3, Army of the Dead, Army of Thieves, John Wick 4, and both Rebel Moons. So yeah, well, so that's not great.
Was he the main writer
for Rebel Moon? That's a good question. It's I would have to
let me see. Rebel Moon, Child of Fire,
screenplay. No, so
writer.
he was like one of 3 writers on that.
Yeah, and Zack Snyder was like the main one.
Right. So
like,
yeah, I mean, you can't
4. He wrote chapter 4.
Yeah, right, and chapter 3. So those were both great.
And I didn't love Army of the Dead, but it wasn't terrible.
I didn't see either of those, Army of the Dead or Army of Thieves.
He also wrote Day Shift, which I didn't hear great things about, but
Yeah. Well,
but,
and then this is directed.
I come to this for insane action and cool one-liners and an insane world. I don't come to this necessarily for the story, but if the story's good, even half as good as John Wick 3 or 4, I'm there.
Yeah. I mean, I would like it to be as good as John Wick 3. Like, I think that is one of the most fun action movies I've ever seen. But it seems like it's going to go in a more serious direction. I think more like John Wick 4. So I think that's more of the vibe we're getting, which I don't mind. I like serious John Wick. John Wick 1 and 2 were also pretty serious. So
was John Wick and John Wick 1 not serious? He was like,
that's what I just said.
Oh.
Yeah. I said, John Wick 1 and 2 were pretty serious too. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But like John Wick and 3 and 4 wasn't serious?
No. It's funny. I'm thinking John Wick 3 is the only one that like just goes all out and like doesn't take itself incredibly seriously. I don't think 2 takes itself like incredibly seriously either, but like it's way more grounded than like 3 is, I think.
It's true.
I think there are moments in 2 where you're like, okay, that's insane.
When they're walking in the
so fucking dumb.
Oh god.
But yeah, this one's directed by apparently Len Wiseman.
Pedestrians. Very quietly.
But Len Wiseman, this director, hasn't done anything since 2016. Actually, he hasn't directed since 2012's Total Recall. So, well, at least in a movie. So that's interesting. We'll see if that's any good directing wise from him. Yeah. But that's all our thoughts on the trailers this week. Next, we had some insane news that a Deathstroke and Bane team up movie is coming from James Gunn's DC Studios.
Yeah.
I don't think it's clear yet whether this is going to be in his DCU. I don't think the director's been attached yet. Because you know he has mentioned they will make Elseworld movies and shows. I do though. My prediction is that they will include this in their lineup of DCU movies. And I heard in the article that it was said that like they're not the only two people confirmed for this movie, right? And that this might not be just those two teaming up. It might be multiple members or villains teaming up together. And so I think a lot of people's thoughts is that this could be a Secret Six DC movie. And for those who don't know a lot about Secret Six, the main kind of idea behind them is that they're a group of villains formed by Lex Luthor, who kind of goes by the alias of Mockingbird, and then they or he tasked them with taking down I think it's called the League of Supervillains in DC that is like run by his clone. And so he's trying to like take back control, right? And I don't think that I don't
think the clone will come into play. I think it'll be like somebody else.
I think he wants to just like take control of like he wants control again. And
meanwhile, at the Legion of Doom,
right? Like I think like on paper it sounds kind of ridiculous, but I don't think James Gunn is afraid to go in that direction. I think like he's all about like all things comic book, and I don't think anything is too fantastical. And like we know Lex Luthor already exists. Like, and I think we know James Gunn loves a superhero team or like a villain team. And I think this just flows right into it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, and if that is the case, that like it's a secret group put together to take down this other organization, I can, as wacky as like the way that you described it sounds, like there's still a way to like bring that down to a pretty, for lack of a better word, grounded, setting or ground. It can be ground. It can be grounded, so it's not as ridiculous. Like we're not going to invade, and I can be mistaken, but we're not going to go to this swamp and go invade this, skull-shaped dome where all the super villains, are.
I don't think it'll be that ridiculous.
But. Yeah, I mean, on face value, just like with the facts that we do have, that a script is being developed by Matthew Orton, who was a scribe on Captain America: Brave New World. Mm-hmm. So the idea of these two characters teaming up, I'm very, very not enthralled, but I'm very
intrigued.
It's intrigued and like titillated at this idea, because I'm like, what a weird pairing. But at the same time, if you don't go for a Bane that's like, if you go for a Bane who is more intelligent, because he wasn't always depicted as being, kind of dumbish and just a brute. Like he had tactical knowledge. He was very clever. He was the leader of his own gang. And then on top of that, very strong with all the venom that courses through him. And then you have Deathstroke, who's like a hired gun. And, I'm sure I could see a way where like the two get together. But it is a very strange thing. But at the same time, it's like, it's this kind of thinking that is really refreshing.
Like we're getting movies we've never seen before. Like nothing, like, yes, like we've seen so many different superhero and villain like movies and shows, but like, I don't know. I think there is, like you're saying, like outside of the box thinking here, and we're not getting just your cookie cutter normal shit that we always get,
Yeah. So maybe it is the story that you're talking about with the Secret Six. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, if it's just these two, that's really odd. Like I think Secret Six makes a little more sense. Yeah, I can't imagine how like it's almost like they would have to be like reluctant, like a reluctant team up, like you know, like
But I
like
also-
two cops who don't want to work together or something.
But I also like wonder, have we maybe, you know, are we maybe doing this too much? Like, we have Thunderbolts, we had 2 Suicide Squads, we had,
Yeah,
you know,
no,
of
yeah,
these
I mean,
of these bad guys, you know, coming together and
right,
and doing
like in
something.
his new universe, we're gonna have Creature Commandos, and we're gonna have the Authority, and we're gonna have the Justice League, and like that's so he's having like a ton of different groups, and I feel like that's starting to become a theme. If like the Secret Six is actually confirmed to be in his universe, like
Right.
that'll be 4 confirmed groups, and then you also have like the backstory for this universe where it feels like Suicide Squad existed at one point. So they're another group, and yeah, I don't know. I don't mind the groups. I love a team up movie. I love the interactions between a team. You know, it's why Guardians is one of my favorite properties. But I don't know. Yeah, we could be oversaturating the market. I don't know.
What if this is a like a Bat family issue, and we get introduced like they're both like coming out of like Blackgate or something,
Mhm.
and Nightwing is like the person that they have to come up against.
Hey, if Nightwing is the antagonist because like we're following the villains, that would be amazing. I would love that. That'd be very cool to see, and it'd be interesting because I think we would be introduced to Nightwing in like the Brave and the Bold, the Batman they're doing. But and then I think we would like this would be a second appearance, and we would get to see like a different side of Nightwing, and I don't know, that could be really exciting. I love me some Nightwing. So yeah, music to my ears.
Yeah. So I mean, overall, could this be this could never come to fruition? Sure.
Sure.
This could also be terrible. This could also be amazing,
but it's intriguing.
But it's very intriguing because I just would have never thought of this combination. And obviously, there's a lot of details that are
not out yet.
We're not aware of. But the idea, the fact that, you know, it's being presented that we at least want these 2 characters to be on screen together. I'm like, I mean, if I get to see an on-screen Deathstroke, you know, like a movie. I mean, we've seen it in like Titans, we've seen it in Arrow, we've seen it in other. But like to
I know it. Like I wanted Joe Manganiello's like version so bad, man. I did.
Yeah,
like I don't know, him versus Batman in a Ben Affleck like led Batman movie would have been something magical.
Let me say, and it wouldn't be the case anymore, unfortunately. But back in like 2009, or even before that, a Stephen Lang Deathstroke would have been incredible. So Stephen Lang, he played the villain in the Avatar movie.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, that could have been good. That
He was also
really good.
Like the old guy in Don't Breathe, where like he was like this blind guy that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it would have been great.
No, I agree. He's got like the exact build of what I look at in like a Deathstroke. So that makes a lot of sense. I think that's a better casting than Joe, like Manganiello, but I still would have
Joe. I'm like,
I definitely didn't buy him being the age they were presenting.
No.
That was my whole thing, but like he had a good look. I don't disagree with that. And it's a bummer we only ever got to see him really at the end of that I think it was at the end of Batman v Superman. Or was it Justice League?
I think it was.
I think it might have been. Yeah, I think you're right. It was the end of Justice League.
Yeah.
When he meets Lex on his boat, his yacht. Yeah. So
maybe they're still going with that, and Lex will be in charge of whatever this is. Maybe this is the start of how the Legion of Doom begins.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe they go a whole different route than that like 2005 run for the comics, and they don't have Lex Luthor as like a manipulative leader. Like he has like his own kind of goals that he wants to come to fruition. Yeah, it could go any way. Yeah. Well, this is all the details we have for you on this. But yeah, keeping in line with DC news, we got news of 2 different kinds of castings for the Lantern show. You said earlier that Hal Jordan had been confirmed. Is he full on confirmed now, or
I thought he was full on confirmed.
All I had heard was that he was still in he was in talks to do it, that he hadn't been like signed or anything yet. I could be wrong though, but who we're talking about is that Kyle Chandler is possibly in talks to play and possibly signed to play Hal Jordan in the Lantern show, which we had previously said Josh Brolin was in talks for. And then for Jon Stewart, we got the report that the actors Aaron Pierre and Stephen James are both up for the part of Jon Stewart. So I think all three actors can really kill it in their roles. I don't know if you found confirmation yet.
Hollywood Reporter, he's gonna play Hal Jordan.
That's pretty amazing. I'm a big fan. I love Kyle Chandler in Super 8. That's pretty much the only thing I've really seriously seen him in. But I think he played his part incredibly well in that. And I think he has the face and build of a Hal Jordan in my mind. I think he's got a very in the roles I've seen, he plays a very I don't know. It's almost like it's a reserved, but kind of military kind of cop background. And I don't know if that's exactly what Hal Jordan is, but I think in his old age,
he's a cop.
Sure,
he's a space cop.
He is. But I think in his old age, he's gonna be this kind of more reserved, more of a mentor figure, more kind of following the books than he was as a younger Green Lantern. And I think this fits really well for it. So,
yeah, I mean,
love Kyle Chandler for that.
I really like Kyle Chandler. I think that he does tend to play more for lack of a better word, cop related roles, you know,
like in those roles. Godzilla ones, he was both in the military in that. And it's funny that you say that, because I was going to say my first introduction to him was in King Kong, the Peter Jackson 2005 movie. Oh, really?
Where he was playing an actor who was really
he was the opposite of what we're kind of talking about.
He was pompous, and he was all about his looks and all that stuff. But he still ended up doing some good in that. He was also in Super 8 and Argo and Zero Dark 30. He was the FBI agent in Wolf of Wall Street. So it's a lot of cop and agent kind of roles and military roles. But there's something about him that I think he always has a bit of a lightheartedness, or he's always at least, even if maybe lightheartedness is the wrong word, but he'll make jokes. While still being pretty serious, and I can
he feels like a dad, you know.
Yeah, he feels like a dad, and he makes sarcastic remarks sometimes, or doesn't take things too overly seriously, but while still being serious.
Right.
And I think this is great casting, because I think he's going to do a great job as an older Hal Jordan. And regarding the other two actors, who admittedly I've not seen them in anything, but just basing off of looks alone, I think either one of them I'd be extremely happy with. I just want them to be a good actor. Regarding Aaron Pierre and Stephen James.
Go on.
Well, Aaron Pierre, I mean, if if it just looks alone, I'm if they got that guy, I'd be I mean, I don't know who else.
Dude, what's really interesting,
that looks like Jon Stewart.
It does. It really does. And what's really interesting is that a month or so ago, people on Twitter were saying I guess the show Genius, MLK /X just came out, and he plays Malcolm X in it. Mm-hmm. And I saw a clip from it, and his voice, and the way he looks, I mean, he just everyone was this guy's got to be Jon Stewart. And now that this news has come out, it feels this almost feels like a I'm blanking on the guy who's playing Superman right now, David Cornsweet. People there were some people who were this is the guy who needs to play Superman, and then it came true, and it feels we're kind of like maybe James Gunn is like online and like and hearing these thoughts, and he's like, maybe this guy is the guy for us.
Maybe, but like James Gunn is somebody who's only going to hire somebody based on if they are a good actor and if they fit the role that he's going to play.
For sure. Yeah, and I think he's not going to just give him a part. They got to audition for sure. I think
Stephen James
Pierre would be my pick, even though Stephen James does look like I think he looks good for the part. I don't. Yeah. I just never seen him
with
in
either one of them. Yeah. I agree.
I do wish like Stephen James, like maybe not in the first thing he's in, but maybe he like it keeps bulking up throughout the movies, because like I do imagine Jon Stewart as like this massive dude. Even though like I'm not the biggest Jon Stewart fan, so like my opinion probably doesn't matter a ton. I grew up with Hal. I'm sorry. Like, I know you grew up with John. And it's like how you grew up with Wally West and I grew up with Barry Allen. It's just what it is.
I love Wally.
But yeah, no, I think both actors could play the part really well, even though I haven't seen Stephen James or Aaron Pierre really in anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you can't really be mad at any of these castings. They're exciting.
Yeah. And I mean, this show, I mean, I've been excited for it ever since it got announced. I'm continuously getting more and more excited with, the people that they have attached to write this show, the people that they're getting to be the actors. And now that we're getting kind of just a tiny bit of an idea of that they're going for a mentor-mentee sort of like rookie on the job, like new recruit sort of story into this space cop murder mystery, uncovering things. Like it's, going back to when we were talking about the Bane and the Deathstroke news, it's not something that I would have thought to start off with, but that's what's making it interesting. And, like
it's like we're in the middle of somebody's story, or like towards the end of like Hal's story and at the beginning of John's. And I think it's a really beautiful place to pick up.
Yeah. And not that you couldn't tell a story about Hal Jordan in 2024 about, like, I'm sure you could find an interesting thing, but I think what like this, hearing all this information, this news like says to me is, what's another like, this guy, who is a air fighter pilot or air fighter pilot and got this magical ring and now he's fighting evil. It's like, well, haven't we seen stuff like that before? Whereas now we get to have this cool show about like
a mystery on Earth
and like an older superhero mentoring a younger one. And it's like, okay, that's interesting. That's something that we haven't seen probably before.
Yeah. And I think like myself and a lot of Lanterns fans, I think we're like starving for some live action content. And I don't know.
You guys have been like on the verge of death. I mean, it's just you've been begging for. Well,
I don't know if you heard too, is that like a bunch of actors apparently were like turning down the Lancer, like the Hal Jordan role, because they felt like there was a lot of baggage because of like what Ryan Reynolds like has said recently about the role and like how it went the last time there was a movie about Hal Jordan. And so I'm just glad Kyle Chandler, it seems like he's accepted the role. I'm glad they found somebody who's like not scared to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see one of my favorite superheroes again. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we know this is going to film next year at some point, but we don't know much more than that.
Yeah.
And hopefully this comes out in 2026 or so. That'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the last piece of news we wanted to talk about, well, not even news, but we wanted to review episode 3 of Agatha and maybe talk a little bit about episode 1 and 2, since we didn't fully talk about that last week.
Yes.
But yeah, I am very surprisingly liking this show.
I gotta say, just episode 3, fucking incredible.
It was really good. Yeah, I mean, and the little crumbs they're giving you about the mystery along the way has been really exciting. And like I was shocked that like they just dropped Mephisto's name out of nowhere.
Boom.
I was like,
nerdiest thing I've done in months or maybe a year. It's the nerdiest thing I've done all year. Just
you like get up from your couch, you're like, oh, it's Mephisto.
What I was watching the episode and I was like, I was enthralled. I was like, this is great. I was like, what is going on? This is I love this. And then, some say, he was traded to work for Mephisto, and I go,
yeah.
And I immediately just this deep inhale and rise up from where I was sitting, and I was like,
yeah, the fact that there's
this means
there's that they confirmed there's Mephisto and that there's also been agents of Mephisto is like, whoa, that's insane that you're just like dropping this in a conversation. It's not even like crazy like implicating news or anything. It's just like they're confirming that he's existed in this universe for some time, and that's super exciting. Yeah, I think that'll go somewhere.
Yeah, and I don't know. I guess I'm still not 100%, but like to me, I'm like, yeah, that's definitely Agatha's son. Like there's almost no doubt in my mind that the teen is Agatha's son.
I could see it, sure,
but there is a small percentage chance that I'm like, maybe it's Wanda's kid. But I think
it's could easily be Wiccan, because Wiccan in the comics he's a magic user, and I think
but here's the thing: where the fuck did he come from? He's not real.
I don't know. But here's the thing: in this episode, though, they like I don't know if you remember that conversation where he's like, I don't remember the full context, but he says I think to the potions witch. And he's like, yeah, a lot of crazy things happened to me 3 years ago too. And which is the time of WandaVision. And you're like, well, that could be a massive hint.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I said, there was a lot of things that were hinted at here where like, because at the same time she says some people say that Agatha wouldn't even recognize her son if she ever got to meet him. Wow. And there's and like she's obviously tormented by this, idea of like, the baby's crying when she's having the hallucination, and then the dark hold appears, and so I don't know. I'm fairly certain we're gonna see Sacha Baron Cohen as Mephisto this
you think
season.
He'll be Mephisto? Is that?
I thought that he was confirmed to be,
Is he confirmed Mephisto to be in the show? Or I haven't heard of a casting news at all.
Well,
that's crazy.
He was cast for it in Ironheart at least.
Was he? I didn't know this.
I'll double check.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But yeah, I mean, besides all of that exciting news about about the teen character and about Mephisto, I thought the story of this episode was really well done. Basically, they go through this trial, this test, this potions test, really, and they're kind of implanted into this beach house, this really wonderful looking, like, high class beach house, it feels like, and they all are kind of tasked to drink this wine that's been poisoned, and the potions witch has to come up with a potion that counteracts the spell that they've been put under, the poison that they've been put under. And I thought the journey that they all go through was really well done. I really enjoyed all the hallucination scenes, getting to learn about like each character. I mean, the fact that it seems like Agatha traded out her son for the Darkhold is like really disturbing. I don't know. And it really makes you think, like, is she good at all? Like, because you're right. Like you said it last week. You're like, she's pretty mean sometimes. And I'm like, she is, but like you understand that she believes she's better than like everyone else. And I think that's where it's coming from.
And this was the episode that in episode 3, and I know we said we were going to talk about episodes 1 and 2, but regarding episode 3, this was the episode that made me go like get more invested in her as a character, and like she was showing a little bit more compassion, like especially towards the teen. She was like, "No, you're not drinking that," and like I'll drink it, and I think that I love how this whole episode was set up. Like, we've been walking on the road. Deborah Jo Rupp's like, oh, I'm fucking done with this. Oh, my bag.
Yeah, we got to talk about her.
And you know, all of a sudden, like, we're introducing this idea. Like, now that we're on this road, I'm like, oh, the idea that they've come up with this as like and the tests that are occurring, it is a bit like the Wizard of Oz, where like these it's like these magical things appear, and it's like, well, you have to follow them and you have to go through them, and it is like this almost like odyssey that they're going on, and I love that. What I'm hoping for the rest of the season is the same way that we started off the first episode with like this Mayor of Easttown sort of not spoof, but you know, like that they wanted to, like how WandaVision would play on tropes of different eras of television, that we would see different, like that was one of the strong points, is taking these settings and these types of shows and doing something interesting within the confines of it. And then this episode, we got kind of this, like, we've all been poisoned, kind of like murder
mystery right.
thing.
Yeah.
But it's also like set up in the way of like New Jersey housewives, like, you know, or like this kind of like rich people.
I didn't even think of it like that, but that's really smart. I think that is going to be a theme that they're going to continue to, like, each test is going to be like a different vibe, a different kind of show that they're playing off of. I like that a lot.
And I hope they keep with that, because it was really interesting, and it created different conversations to be had. Like, I like the conversation that like the teen was having with like the blood witch, and when they were talking about like their moms or whatever. I remember that, like, really liking that. I liked, I can't remember. Somebody said something when they were like revealed, like one witch was like, I love you guys. But then some other witch said something that was like, don't tell her or don't tell him or something like that. I can't remember. But it was just the way that they like decided they got certain, like, by the way, I know I'm jumping all around, but like,
you're fine.
The hallucinations that they were having, and the stuff that was revealed when they were, I guess, like kind of delusional, and they were just saying things that was like on their mind. It was just so smart to like learn about the characters in different ways. And the hallucin, I was kind of worried for you when they were doing the hallucinations, because like genuinely scary. So like those scenes were genuinely scary, I thought.
I don't know. I guess it wasn't the horror aspects that have been in this show so far have not felt anywhere near like where I'm like actually like scared, you know? Like
I wasn't scared, but like I was like, this is intense. Like there was blood and there was there's some really creepy soundtracks.
It was better than the horror I think they tried to put in the second episode, where they had those like the people following, like the.
I still thought they were kind of spooky.
A little, but like when they started breaking into the house, it just started feeling a little goofy to me. Like when you, like, you know, like the hand reaching through and grabbing the teen, I was like, and then you had like the one where it quickly, like she was kind of like floating standing, and it quickly like went in, and then like the teen was able to just kind of like run away, and you're like, like then one crawled down the stairs all creepy like, and I was like, I don't know, it's not really doing it for me, but I get what they're going for, and I don't know, I don't think it's bad horror. It's just like it's nothing that's gonna like freak me out or anything. So this show is fine for me so far.
I don't know. I really love the way that they built those hallucination sequences. I thought they were like,
I thought
they were really good. I thought they were really good.
And I love the fact that like they played into the fact that like Agatha was delayed behind everyone else. I think that was another really like smart thing to do throughout the episode.
And in the way that Deborah Jo Rupp's character just like downed it first, you know, and they were able to like, well, she's dealing with this, we're going to deal with this, and then you know that it's going to come later for Agatha. And I think the way that they structured this episode was just It was really
Yeah,
good. It was
absolutely.
great. Yeah, you said you wanted to talk about Deborah Jo Rupp's character.
Yes. Okay. So I do love Deborah Jo Rupp. I love this character of Sharon and Mrs. Davis slash Mrs. Davis slash Mrs. Hart. Um,
Yeah.
but like, oh gosh, it really makes you hate Agatha because like for her to bring this woman along because like I think Agatha knows that this woman's gonna die. Like there's no way like a mortal person, like a normal person could survive this quest down the richest road. And so there's one that I makes you hate Agatha even more. Two, I'm very like I had to buy into like that what is that? The thing of disbelief, like I don't know, I can't think of the term, but like but you just had to like kind of like buy in that like she was just gonna like whimsily follow what they were doing. Like I don't know, like yes, she's lonely, but like would she really have like stayed around like while they're singing this like weird witch cult song and like I don't know. It was a little like
I mean, I think like she's not gonna just leave while they're singing it, and then when they're like we gotta go because there's these fucking things coming after us, like.
Sure, I don't know. It just felt odd that like there was clearly no party going on and she stayed anyways. I don't know. But yeah, like besides that, like she's been a surprisingly great addition, even though R.I.P. to Mrs. Davis. She did die at the end there.
If she's really dead, I will give props to this show for like doing something pretty like I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting.
I think if she doesn't end up dying, I'll be a little disappointed, to be honest. Because I want some real stakes for the Witch's Road. I want them to show like, hey, you're not always going to make it out alive of these tests. And maybe someone dies in each test. I don't know if that'll be the case, but it feels like they didn't get her the potion in time, and maybe that's why she died. Maybe it's a misdirect, and she'll just be like, oh, I was just choking, no big deal, and then she'll be alive. But no, yeah, I like that they're showing that there's stakes, at least at the moment, that there's real consequences. So I'm excited for the next few tests. I'm glad that like she wasn't just this random witch that was also living in Westview. I think that would have been even worse, like for Mrs. Davis.
Yeah, it wasn't.
We were talking about the trailer.
When we were talking about, we were like, oh, like there's always been these, all these different characters from Westview have always been witches, which wasn't the case. Like it's not like all these characters from WandaVision, but it still was like they shoehorned in, well, wherever there's a witch, within like.
Yeah, 30, I didn't like that. They were like, they literally was like, within any 3 mile radius.
Yeah, there's another witch.
There's enough witches to form a coven. That's what they said. And I'm like, what? A 3 mile radius? That can't be right. That's way too small. Like,
I was like, all right.
Yeah,
that suspension of disbelief.
That's what it is.
I'll give you this one thing on top of the fact that there's magic. Like I'm like, all right,
right.
3 mile radius, fine.
Yeah, that's a bit ridiculous. But yeah, I don't know. I've enjoyed a lot of the show so far.
To be fair, I think maybe what I would have preferred instead of a 3 mile radius, because that just seems so arbitrary.
Right.
And so like, and I guess for
so convenient.
It's convenient. Thank you. It would be. It's so convenient. Would be like, well, if they would have built into the history of Westview, like, well, actually, it was a place where witches were persecuted, or like, this is an old town where like witches have always kind of lived around, and
maybe subtly in like the first, like in WandaVision, like both Wanda and Agatha were like drawn to Westview for like reasons they didn't even understand.
Sure.
Right. Yeah.
That would be something that I'd be like, okay, yeah. So this is a witchy kind of area where
right.
like it's common because it's baked into the history of witchcraft. And I'm like, okay, that would have been fine. But the third, whatever.
But the fact that like within every 3 miles there's at least 5 witches, I'm like, yeah, I don't know, dog. That's a lot of witches in the world, you know, like that's way too many.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I guess real quick, I really liked the first 2 episodes, not as much as this last one, but I did like the first 2 episodes. I
enjoyed them too. Yeah. Like the first episode of going through like that detective theme of like a detective show and like her discovering that she's been in this spell. And then like the second episode of like gathering the witches coven. I thought like both were very different, but like good in their own aspects, you know?
Yeah.
I enjoyed both themes.
The main complaint I have is that Agatha is just so unlikable at times.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess
she's growing on me more and more.
I don't mind it because it fits to her character. Like it doesn't feel unnaturally like unpleasant or mean. It just feels like that's what Agatha's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, maybe that doesn't work incredibly well for a leading character. I don't know. Maybe it's a journey she has to go on to like lighten up throughout the show.
Yeah.
And maybe she'll become more likable by the end of the season. But yeah, she clearly doesn't want much more than power and to use people. And yeah. So not like definitely not the most likable character.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
Now, just to talk about Mephisto, I think that was this always the case that we're going to go down this road? I don't know, but there is something rewarding or exciting, at least, about the first Marvel TV show. We all go, Mephisto. Oh my God, it'll be Mephisto. And it wasn't.
Yeah.
And then for every Marvel project after, whether being serious or as a joke, everyone goes, Mephisto? Maybe it's Mephisto.
Yeah, I think they've heard it. They've clearly heard all the talk, and I think they wanted to finally bring it in. Yeah.
Yeah. And I have almost no doubt that we will see Sacha Baron Cohen as Mephisto this season.
That's such an odd choice, don't you think?
I think it's great. I think it's great.
Okay, well, we'll see.
He's a great actor, and I think
I just don't think I ever would have casted him for a devil character, you know?
Oh, I would.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
He plays devilish characters all the time.
Sure. In a sense, yeah.
Like, have you ever seen him in Les Mis? Not that I would call that character necessarily devilish, but like he's the owner of like might have been a whorehouse. Alongside Helen Bonham Carter, and they're kind of seedy and kind of, scummy. Right. But like I've also seen him in dramatic roles where like he can play. I could see him as like this charismatic, dark, but also like kind of funny devil character who could easily be intimidating, but also like kind of annoying and and like taunting to somebody, like to Agatha. Like I could see Sacha Baron Cohen and who plays Agatha again?
Catherine
Hahn just having some great chemistry.
Sure, yeah, I could see that. You're selling him for me. I like it. I like it more now. But yeah, I do think he will come in this. Yeah, just like you're saying, he'll come in this season.
Because like a devil doesn't need to be like, like a devil has to make deals.
Sure,
and you can't make deals if nobody likes you.
Yeah,
if you're not convincing.
That's fair. Yeah, you got to be somewhat charming, but also sadistic, right? Yeah. Well, this show is been surprisingly really good so far. I haven't liked everything. I didn't. I will say I didn't necessarily love how the song went in that episode 2, and I think it's only because it didn't feel super authentic. It felt very auto-tuned in a sense.
Okay, so I wanted to say regarding the song. Yeah. I was saying to Hannah, I wish that they had sung it.
Yes.
In the room live.
Right.
And maybe it could have built up to like where it's, surrounded by music and it's tuned more and whatnot. Because when it started off so produced and like mixed.
Yeah,
and
Catherine Hahn was like incredibly produced at the beginning. I was like, I don't know.
But, I'll take it over Acolyte Witch Song.
Sure, it's not okay. I'm not gonna say the song itself was good either, but it's better.
Road.
It's definitely better than the Acolyte by a mile.
Hannah said she really liked it.
The song, or the Acolyte.
She really liked the song. Which it was catchy. It had catchy parts.
Yeah, and the fact that there's only been one song in like 3 episodes is pretty surprising. So yeah, props for not overindulging us in that. Because I was worried about this being a musical, and it really hasn't been. So
how much do you want to bet we get a Sacha Baron Cohen, because he can't sing, Sacha Baron Cohen song near the penultimate episode where it's a remix of
I think that
Mephisto
could really
all along.
I think that could really piss some people off. I don't know if people want to see Mephisto singing in like his first appearance. But we'll see. Yeah, it could be fun. It could be. I don't know.
It was Mephisto.
I'm not super into the musical aspect of like the witch lore. So if they continue to tone that down as much as they can, that'd be great. But
guys, I would like to.
That's just me.
I'd also like to mention that like you just don't like plays. You don't like musicals.
Well, here's the thing. I have been to plays musicals, and I've enjoyed my time there.
But
I don't necessarily want it at a movie or a television show. I don't know if that's like necessarily the best time for me to indulge in like musical performances. I don't know.
I disagree.
Yeah, that's just me though. That's just me. I have liked actual musicals. It's just very rare when I do. So it's just got to be done well. It's got to feel natural. You can't just like be going into like song and dance like whenever you feel like it in a musical. I hate that shit. So did you not
like the Agatha All Along thing from WandaVision?
Yeah, I think I didn't mind it because it was so like one off. You were just like, okay, that's just a quirky thing that like Agatha did. And that's it. Like it's not like a whole production of like this happens and then you wouldn't believe it, but like as a preteen, I guess I was watching like the first few seasons of Glee, and season 2, I remember watching season 2 and being like, this is good. There's not like singing all the time, and they sing
for singing,
right? No, but
for singing,
but they sang at like the appropriate times, right?
Oh,
but in season 3, like it was like every single scene, like when they weren't in their Glee club, like they were singing everywhere, and you're like, I hate this, and so. Yeah, that's where it stopped for me, and I think there's a line you have to kind of teeter on for musicals. So,
yeah.
But that's just yeah. I know a lot of people like musicals. That's just for me. Yeah. But so yeah, like I said, so far Agatha's been good, and I'm excited to keep watching.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Well, this is the time on our podcast where we talk about what we watched within the past week. Have you watched anything recently?
Well, like I was saying to Ian before we started this, if you are not watching Rings of Power season 2, you got to get on it, because the last 2 episodes rival stuff from the original trilogy. Honestly, I am
crazy,
pretty mind blown. I think it was incredible. This entire season has been a complete 180 turnaround from all the disappointments that was season 1. It's just rich with drama and action and it's so beautifully choreographed and set up, and all the different plot lines are being woven together very, very well. Much better than last time, and they're You can really see that budget on display, especially with this last episode. You're just like,
Nice.
I was like,
it's pretty much movie budgets that they're giving these seasons now. So,
but especially this show is so expensive. And when I saw what they did, I was like, I'm watching a movie.
Do you think it's still like, I remember the first season, I think had a budget of like 400 million, I think. Like, does it still have that kind of a budget?
I don't know, but it is the most expensive TV show in history.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Yeah.
And last episode I was like, I'm watching a movie. I am not watching a TV show. This is a movie. This is insane.
Nice. Okay. Well, you're definitely making me want to watch it. I'll say that.
Besides,
just don't know if I want to sit through season 1.
It's not all bad, but it's not great.
Yeah.
And then besides that, I feel like there was something I watched recently, but maybe
I can go while you think about it. Yeah. So I finished for the 3rd time since it came out. I've finished House of the Dragon season 2. I watched that with our friend Ryan. I mean, like, genuinely, the more I watch it, like the more I like the season. Like, and I already like the season a lot. There's some really great arcs, and I don't think it's like, yes, it is a little bit of a drop off from season 1, but I don't think it's like that far of a drop off. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, check it out. I like it enough to watch it over and over again, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't mention it last week, but I started the new season of Survivor. I don't know if you ever finished last season's. I don't think you did.
I know who won.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think the finale of last season was really great. If you'd never watched it, it's cool to see how they win. But this like every other season, this season's got some insane people, and I think there's something massive that happens in this first episode that you'll be like, I'm sorry, what? And
I'm eager to watch it because the guy that got voted off first is actually the host of a podcast that I listen to.
He's the host of Pod Saves America.
Yeah.
And I thought it was kind of hilarious to see that react. I don't know if you saw his reaction on Twitter.
No.
He posted it, and it was great. But yeah, so a little bummer that that spoiler, but I think even knowing that, you'll just be like, how did he get voted off first? I think you'll genuinely you'll be shocked at like,
I heard he was done pretty dirty.
He was. He shouldn't have been voted off first, but like he was like, I get why he was the top 2 candidates for that episode. I don't think he deserved to go first, but his tribe isn't the smartest, I would say. But I can't wait to hear you watch it.
Yeah,
talk about it.
We're gonna get caught up on it.
I haven't seen the 2nd episode yet, but I'm probably watching that tomorrow.
Yeah,
so, yeah. But that's about it, I think.
God, I can't remember what it was that I watched. Honestly, I did watch The Penguin again. I remember I watched that again.
Nice.
But
great episode.
Yeah. Oh, I do.
He remembers.
So last night we didn't really know what we wanted to watch, and so on Hannah's TV there's like the Vizio home screen will sometimes promote shows and movies that are new, and so guess how long? You remember that Angela Bassett 911 show?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Guess how many seasons there's been?
Has there been like 5 already, or is it more?
Right. You would think 5. That's what Hannah thought. 8.
Yeah.
8 seasons. And so I was looking at the thing and it said 911 be NATO, and I went,
Yeah. So there's a new 911 show coming out. I think for like a beach themed one.
No. This
Am I
is
wrong
not
about that?
No,
it's not that. Okay,
you're right. But this is the main show with Angela Bassett.
Sure. Yeah. I'm just saying they have a ton of spinoffs too, right?
Bee-nado. And I was like,
what does that mean? Bee-nado?
A tornado of bees. And so
I saw a poster for this. I think it's like the first episode of like the new season.
It's a 3-part series opener.
Oh my God.
And so I was like, wait a second. I thought this show was about like 911, like police officers and fire rescue. Yeah. It still is. It still is.
Yeah. They're solving it. Yeah.
But I was reading, if you haven't been introduced to Ryan Murphy's 911 show, let me catch you up. There was a tsunami at Santa Monica Pier in Los Angeles.
Okay. Great.
There was some other things. And I was like, okay, so this episode is about 22 million killer bees they're being transported by this truck, and then all of a sudden this truck jackknifes on a bridge, and all these bees come out, and
there's a tornado.
Well, no, and they're really angry because of the heat, so they start attacking people, and they trap this. By the way, this mom and their daughter who have bee allergies. By the way, they're in this car on the bridge. Nothing's blocking them, by the way, but they're in this car on the bridge, and then the bees swarm the car, and they call 911 to see what they should do. They could drive, but they don't. They just sit there, and then the bees get into the car and they sting the daughter, and they use the EpiPen, but then they sting the mom. They don't have another EpiPen, and all the while the firefighters are trying to get the bees off the car.
Wow.
And
this
then
is insane.
The episode, and then they become a tornado at one point when they smoke them out. So the bees are traveling across the state of California, and they attack a perfume launch. And then they also go up in the air, and they cause an airplane to crash into another airplane.
Oh, no way, dude.
And the one airplane that gets crashed into is the one that Angela Bassett's on while she's transferring a prisoner who killed her fiance from years ago.
Oh my, dude, this is the same kind of stakes as like a superhero movie. Like this is not far off. This is insane.
It's crazy. But I'm obsessed with it now. I'm like, oh my God, I got to keep watching this.
I think it's insane that like no one is talking about these shows, but there are like ages 50, like 45 and up that there's like millions of people who watch these shows. And there's like a bunch of these that like fire and rescue and then I think I've said on here before that like there's these like Chicago. Like there's like Chicago Med and Chicago Fire and Chicago like PD that like are all shared universe. And you're like, what is going on? Where like so many people are enthralled with like these like first responder like type shows. It's so bizarre that there's so many popular ones and so many that have gotten so ridiculous. It's insane. It's insane.
Yeah. And I was like, I was laughing so much because I was like, well, I don't know that much about bees. Do bees swarm? How many bees would it take to kill somebody? And so like I'm like Googling like how many bees does it take to kill a man?
Dude,
and
just bees like crashing a plane. It's like that's just like where you have to like draw the line.
The episode opens up with this guy like a pilot just on his own flying up in the sky, and then he sees this cloud of bees.
Right.
And he's like, instead of going like, I don't know what that is, I'm going to go around it. He goes straight into it.
Okay. That's a way to start off your show. Yeah.
I mean, if you want to have like a good time, you should watch that.
What's it on?
It's on Hulu.
Okay. Well, I got it now. So yeah.
I'm all the stuff with Angela Bassett. I was like, she's doing so good in this. But then like it gets intercut. Like there's this whole story about like this prisoner she has to transfer that only wants her to transfer him, and she doesn't want to because she killed his fiance. I was like this backstory is crazy. But then like all of a sudden they'll cut. Like there's lines where like the firefighters who are like part of the main show cast, like they see the bees on the bridge and right before it cuts the commercial goes, That's a lot of no. That's a lot of bees. And then commercial break. And then it'll come back. And then when the bees turn into a bee-nado, one of the characters goes, "That's a bee-nado."
Like that's a term that everyone uses.
Yeah. And she's like, "So you've seen this before? Wow, okay."
Oh my God, it's so stupid. That's insane. Wow. And like Angela Bassett's like a really great actress. Like, what is she doing in this?
I don't know. That's what I was like, what is she? But the stuff that they give her character to do, I'm like, this is great. Like, it's really a
like you have some really great acting, and then you go back to the stupid ass B-Nato.
It's so funny.
Oh, it's man. So I might have to watch that 3-parter. That sounds like an experience for sure.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm kind of hooked right now.
Oh man. All right. Well, I think that's everything we've watched for today or this past week. And that's everything we had to talk about. So thank you for watching and listening. And like always, we release our episodes on Mondays and our clips on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays.
As always, it's never not like that.
It's never. Well, yeah, right. Well, I'm just saying this is what I always say. Maybe that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But it's always like that. But if you follow us, we
sometimes try to do it.
We try and. So our links to our audio platforms and YouTube and our social medias are in the description below. And if you want to give us a like, a comment, a rating, a review, or a subscribe, we'd greatly appreciate it.
Look out for bees.
Yeah, and B-Nados.
B-Nados. I mean, it's the season right now.
It's scary out there, you know. I mean, stay protected.
They're really angry by the heat, you know?
Yeah. Well, I guess good thing we're going into fall then.
It's a good thing.
See less of those. Yeah.
See less B-Nados.
Yeah.
Be vigilant.
Just stay safe, everyone.
And until next time.